Justin Vandergrift and Julia Ament-Cox have joined us, and they're going to talk a little bit about the parent working group and how they partner with Improve Care Now to improve care. You've heard from some parents during other parts of this call, but I'm thrilled to have them share a little bit about the parent working group structure and their hopes for parents who get involved with this part of the community.
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, there you are. Excellent.
I'm Julia Cox. I'm a parent from Orlando. I work with Arnold Palmer. My son is 19 now, and he was diagnosed with Crohn's just over 10 years ago. So we've been on a 10-year journey, and our center brought us to ICN, and I've been working with them for just over 4 years. This past year as the lead parent working with this group. And on the call too, Justin, will you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Justin Vandergrift. I'm the past leader of the parent working group last year. I'm from Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have a 15, soon-to-be 16-year-old daughter who has had Crohn's disease since she was just past her 11th birthday. Like Julia, I've been involved for about 4.5 years with the network, both as a parent and some other roles as well.
Great, thank you. Next slide, please. For the next few minutes, well, first off, I just want to thank everybody who's on the call and thank the parents. And please, parents or anybody, feel free to type a question along the way if we can help answer that. I know between Justin and I and Sarah and Michelle, we can type in answers as quick as we can, or at the very end, we can take questions as well. Our agenda for our period of time is we're going to go through the history of the parent working group, formation and organization, what we really do, how we can help you, and how to get involved with us. And next slide, please. History of the parent group, the PWG. Our history with Improve Care Improve Care has been inviting parents through their care centers for approximately the last 6 years. As parents get involved with their local care centers, there generally is a lead or a group of parents, and some centers do rotate parents coming to learning conferences. And as they come to learning conferences, we work with parents that are brand new, the first conference, and parents that have been there actually longer than I have. Parents attendees to the conference with their care center to learn about advances in IBD, as well as what a lot of other care centers are doing with their parents, how they can get other parents involved. This past learning session, we had a great opportunity to have 3 sessions going on at one time where we were able to talk about getting started with a parent partner, some centers that are having difficulty starting parent, some centers that have just started with ICN that are looking to start a parent, and some centers that are having difficulty keeping a parent. That was the first group. And then we led on to, once you have an established parent, how do you get more parents with you? And then finally, how do you escalate to a different level, a higher level with that? All our parents are encouraged to be part of their care team, and what that involves with is really special to each and every team. Your care team that you work with, your lead doctors and your nurses and everybody you work with through their QI meetings and whatever they do within their center, they have an agenda of how they want to encourage and have a parent join them. Some parents are very involved with teach nights. Some parents do other extracurricular things where they involved in going to basketball games and things like that, where they try to encourage all the parents to bring their children to that. But when our parents come to the learning sessions, we love the opportunity to sit and share. We have our parent meetings where we can sit and share and discuss what other centers are doing and how we can help other centers get involved. But we also help our parents that when they leave a learning conference, they're super excited about a lot of things that they've learned, what their care center is going to, move into, and they want to take so many ideas back. Part of what we do is working with centers to help them start with one small thing first and then move on to another. Next slide, please. The formation of our parent working group is set up as a committee structure. On the top, there's a past parent leader, which is Justin, who just introduced himself. The current parent leader is myself, and then our assistant parent leader is not on the call with us today. But our tier system works great this way because we have the past leadership that helps mentor the present leadership, and then we bring up the assistant parent leader who has an opportunity to work with the current leader for almost a year prior to coming into their position. There's a 3-year commitment for all leadership roles. We do have the following committees that are working with us right now: membership, communications, research, and conference planning. Next slide, please. Our committee roles are, as you see right here, our communications, which our parent, Deb Ostegi, she's responsible for sending out a monthly newsletter to all parent members, which highlights things that are going on with parents, care center innovations. A lot of times ICN will. Michelle had just put a wonderful piece into the newsletter. Deb is always looking for new interviews to interview doctors or different leads at different places. We highlight new centers that have joined us. So we try to keep our parents very involved with what's going on with ICN in between our parent calls, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Conference planning, that committee helps to prepare the agenda for the parents for the spring and the fall conferences. They do a wonderful job of bringing us all together. We have a great parent dinner with good speakers, which moves us into 2 meetings that we have. Our membership group is the heart and soul of our parent working group for the most part. They're the contact that you would have as a beginning parent or as a parent that needs any kind of help whatsoever. They help our parents get acclimated to the network. They integrate the parents into the group, bringing new parents to a conference. They're the support that are always right there for you in whatever you need. Our research committee, led by David, meets quarterly to discuss new research ideas within the network and how the parent groups can help participate in research opportunities. We're always looking for parents to help with all of those committees in any aspect that they want to. Research also has a separate set of calls that you can join to. They have their own meetings as well, and they're working on some really wonderful things that they are always asking for parents to participate in. Next slide, please. What we do. Our goal is to support the network by offering parent assistance and helping the network with many projects. We take requests from the network for help in helping the network grow, as well as all of our parent groups grow. And as I said before, in the spring conference, we did organize and we led 3 presentations at one time. It's a learning curve for us as well. We hope to do many, many more for conferences to come. Next slide, please. Co-production. The end result of a parent engagement is called co-production. This is where the parents and the patients and the clinicians all work together. In each center, this looks very different. One of the issues I think that we've all had an opportunity to talk to with each other is coming together and talking about what different centers are doing. Not all centers approach things the same way. Some parents are highly involved in QI meetings. Some centers have parent-led organizations, and some have very few opportunities to do that. So when we look at our centers and growing our centers, we want to make sure that there's a comfort level on both sides, on the center side as well as the parent side. What follows are 3 examples of co-production, always led by an inspiration by parents. Justin?
Yes, thank you. To back up just a little bit, I think the bigger goal of the parent working group is under the mantra that success leaves clues. And that's really how the parent group has grown to this point, is that your walk with Crohn's is your walk, but chances are there's someone else who's walked in your shoes. And so when we started the parent working group, and what it's kind of changed into now is a group of individuals who are highly motivated to share as much information as possible. And the way that we do this was to steepen the learning curve. If you think about when your child was diagnosed, or you personally were diagnosed, your method of education or patient education may have been finding an article, and then a month later finding a book, and then a month later talking to somebody. And so if you look, your method of engagement, your method of education within the disease would not be necessarily smooth. And what we're trying to do is to steepen that curve and to provide you as much information when you're ready, as much information as possible, so that you can be an expert in your own care quicker than the rest of us. When I started our walk with Crohn's, and Julia started a decade ago, and I started 5 years ago, it really took 18 months to maybe even 2 years before we actually felt comfortable enough even walking into an appointment and speaking with the physician and feeling knowledgeable. I'm now hearing parents that come to community conferences in the spring and the fall that are 6 months into their journey, and they have as much information as I did at maybe 24 to 36 months. So from a big perspective, we can see this working, especially from a national level, because the not the caliber person, but the education level of a person that we're speaking to now at a national level is so much greater than it was a number of years ago. I really applaud the way that the parents and the patients, where they were placed in this conference call or in this webinar, because we're placed at the end. And I think it gave everybody a really great understanding of how vital the parent and patient voice is within Improved Care Now. We heard Dr. Kappelman talk about the combined study, and we heard the produce study. And if you listen to all of those, or both of those presentations, they all came down to one thing, and that was parent and patient-led, parent and patient engagement, and it's with this theme of co-production. So if we do everything right, and you have a highly motivated parent or patient at your care center, the end result and the best result should be co-production. So we just heard two fantastic opportunities for nationwide or national co-production, and that was with Combine and Produce. I want to give you some examples of local innovation that have happened. And so we're going to start with Buzzy for Shots. This is with Riley Children's Hospital, and just a little background. This mother had a child, and he became incredibly anxious when he got a shot, and he was getting a drug which required routine shots. Frequency was several times a month. And the child really had a hard time accepting the shot, and so she wanted to find a solution for this. And so what she found on her own was a product called Buzzy. And what Buzzy does is it affixes to the hip, and it provides sensory stimulation in one area so that the child can take the shot. And there's a few other things involved, but just on a high level note. She liked this so much, and it completely changed the way that their child received medication, because now you remove the anxiety, now we can just treat the child. So we're not having to treat both the emotional and the physical aspects of disease. We can just focus on the physical aspects of disease. She was so just over the top with what had happened with the Buzzy device that she actually wrote a grant at her hospital and to seek funding to provide these devices to everybody who was receiving routine injections. She has since made that information to the Improved Care Now Parent Working Group, and it's a solution which is scalable that other parents can take advantage of nationally. And we were in talks, and we're still exploring what it would take to look at that as far on a national level. But here we have an innovation that was started very locally at a care center. It's a solution that can be widely spread to other people. And the Buzzy device was something on the order of $20 to $25. So it was a really great solution for a problem that many of us suffered with. Next slide, please. This was actually, this came from Levine Children's Hospital, my hospital, and this was one of the first times when I actually saw what co-production looked like. So we've heard these great examples with Produce and Combine, and there's these big macro projects that really just seem to me, they seem larger than life, but they're just really great projects. The very first one that I did was very, very simple, and it just shows some of the things that can be done even locally that look small but have major payoff. At the hospital, I was just on a routine phone call with our ICN coordinator, and she was just relaying how she had a horrible day. So I asked, what's up? And she said, we just had a family that came into the clinic, and they failed a prednisone taper a number of times, 2 or 3 times. And for those of you that know, prednisone, if this drug is repeatedly used in a patient, that they are a huge risk for osteoporosis down the line. And so what we did is our parent group came up and we found funding to where we could just buy simple pill cases from Walmart. And before, our center is really fortunate in which there's a hospital-run pharmacy right outside the door of the clinic, or just within a few yards. So now when the patients leave the center, they can have the prednisone taper sequence preloaded into a pill case and given with the individual. So now there should be no reason why anybody is failing a prednisone tapering schedule. This was one of the first projects I did with Levine, and I think probably on the big scale, it's the one that means the most for me, mainly because it was number one. But then secondly is because it was such a simple fix, and it just shows that sometimes it just takes the simplest of invention and a little bit of dialogue between the center and the parent or patient in order to move something forward. Next case. This is another one that we did at Levine. While I was sitting in the clinic waiting for a QI meeting, or a meeting with our ICN coordinator, a Hispanic family came in, and the hospital brought an interpreter in, and so the interpreter was speaking with them, and they went into the appointment, and the interpreter was still with them. I was still waiting in the waiting room as they left, and as they left, all the documentation that was given to the parent of the family was in English, and I actually watched them throw everything out into the waste paper bin as they left the appointment. And I thought, we go to this great expense of having an interpreter on staff to actually speak with the family, but then when they leave, the information is not relevant to them when they go home. And so what the clinic decided to do is we began producing a series of educational videos, and they were really short, 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 6 minutes at the most. And what they would cover was topics that were relevant to patients. How will this look? What would the drug treatment look like, etc. And so at the very last, I wanted to do one in Spanish, and the educational video that we did in Spanish was really interesting because what it involved was all of the questions that the girl had, so they weren't themed necessarily to any one topic. And so we're filming this series, and this is really where I bought into Improve Care Now and to see the power that the parents and patients can have. As we're filming this video, I keep feeling this presence over my shoulder, and it turned out to be Maria. It was her father watching us film the video. And so I turned around, and he was just so engaged with the whole process and watching it. At the end of it, I asked Maria, I said, would you ask your dad if he would like to come up and speak? And he said, absolutely. And he sat down in the chair, and he spoke with our physician in Spanish and asked questions that every parent would want to know. And he did it completely on the spot without any preparation at all. And it really showed me that given the opportunity, a parent or a patient can step up and co-produce without necessarily all the wrappings that you would assume that co-production would lead to. So it remains today one of the most touching things. I wish we could have played the video for you, or a short excerpt from it to just see. Next slide, please. So this is how we help to care for other parents, is when they come to community conferences and we go home, we hope to train everyone with the education and the knowledge that they can go home and then insert themselves into the clinic's daily routine and daily schedule so that we can give other parents the opportunity to co-produce and to come up with solutions on how to better not only their child's care, but other children as well. As we said before, it's our goal to steepen the learning curve, help you find solutions quicker from parents who have dealt with the exact same issues, And we also provide a nationwide resource of parents who can quickly offer suggestions to common IBD issues. Next slide, please. And Julia. Julia, you want me to take the?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Justin. Parents, we are just thrilled that you are on the webinar with us, and we would love to have you work with us and involved with us in any capacity whatsoever. Just like Justin said, we all had a starting place. We all had a moment of, okay, this is our life. This is what we have to do. I saw that there was a question about Buzzy, and it was a very enlightening question. And Erica, if you're still on, thank you for asking that question. And we do hope that you do go to that resource, which brings us to these parent resources. We have a multitude of resources available to all parents. Most of them just take a couple of minutes just to sign up. If you'd like to peruse through the website, there are quick links on all sorts of common patient issues. That's ICNparents.com. Our monthly newsletter, which we'd love to send out to you, which keeps you informed on current parent lead innovations, what's happening in the network. You can also see that at ICNparents.com to sign up for it. Smart Patients, which is a great opportunity to ask questions or voice your opinion, or just exactly with what we did here in the audience questions, even about Buzzy, people that have experience with all different kinds of avenues of going to the hospital for the first time, or what do you do when you start to change medications or something. Smart Patients is a opportunity to ask a question on the message board, or you can just leave a response on the message board. So our parents that get involved with that are engaged from around the country. Our monthly calls, we meet via webinar to cover various topics of different IBD questions and upcoming seminars. And a lot of times we have different committee members. Research will come on when they're proposing a new research opportunity for parents too. ICN comes on to our calls many times to invite parents to participate in different things. Next slide, please. To sign up for any of those, please sign up again at ICNparents.com. You can email Justin or I or any of our team members at that address right there at parents@improvecarenow.org with questions. We can sign you up for what you need to. Any information that Justin gave on some of the things that he did with his care center, I know he'd be happy to talk to you about any of those. And just getting involved in general and some of the things that you could do or that you can participate with us. We thank everybody for taking the time to be on the webinar today. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in, or again, please sign up for any of our opportunities that we have available. Justin, do you have any final words?
No, just thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Julia and Justin. Just as with the patients, we so appreciate the time that you all give us throughout the year, not just tonight, given everything you're balancing with your busy lives. So thank you so much, and I learned a lot about the innovations that are happening both locally but also at the national level. And I know that there are a number of parents on the call who may not already be linked in with the parent working group. So thank you for sharing all those opportunities.